Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Sheila Renee, the host of Essence in You, and today we have June Edward in the house. Let me tell you a little bit about June. Well, it's not a little bit. It's actually quite an very impressive, very impressive. June is an award-winning author of 4 books currently. Her latest, All Fair in Love and Karma, I love that title, by the way, speaks to the lessons our souls come here to learn so they can advance on the other side. It was based on the Relationship Mastery Program that she developed in 2018 that has successfully repaired hundreds of relationships and completely changed the lives of those that completed the program. June Edward has been a psychic since a child. However, she didn't realize that she was also a medium until later in life. Some of her gifts have been passed on since her mother was also a medium. She also passed to the other side herself when she was 27 years old, and she came back to this side by choice. She can offer firsthand experience that life after life does exist. She has a 100% success rate in bringing through souls from the other side to give closure and help loved ones heal on both sides. Her sold out group readings can help give insight as to what's going on in your life and help to see what the universe has in store. June's special gifts include working directly with the angels, guides, and departed souls. Combined, these tools have made her a very strong and accurate psychic and trans medium, able to bring through validating details to prove the connection and messages from the other side. June believes that her job as a psychic medium is not only to help those connect with their loved ones and heal both sides, but to help encourage others to embrace this life and be thankful for all the gifts they receive in their life every day. Thank you for being on, June. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I don't even know where to start. Were you an author first or were
No,
you
no.
okay?
No. So, I had been trying to write my autobiography my whole life because I had a very difficult life.
Mhm.
And, through the years, different things happened. I'd start it, I'd stop it. And at one point in time, my 10-year-old son found it on the computer and started reading it. So I deleted the whole thing because I certainly didn't want my kids to know.
Right?
But then I was teaching mediumship and psychic development, and I was working on the book, and I kept hearing, "You've got to write the book. You've got to write the book." And I'm like, "I'm writing the book." And they're like, "No, you got to write another book." And I'm like, "What other book?" They wanted me to write a book for my students to be able to take like a handbook. That's when I put my first book out. I told them, if you want me to write that, you're going to have to help me because I'm writing my autobiography. I'm taking care of my mom who's dying. I'm teaching psychic development and mediumship. I'm still running my businesses. So you're going to have to help me. So I literally wrote and published that book in 6 weeks. It's called A Night on the Other Side, and it teaches you how to meditate properly, how to balance your energy, how to sage your home, how to get rid of unwanted entities, how to protect yourself, different things like
Mhm.
that, and how to
Man,
tap into your own abilities.
well, that's just a lot just by itself. You were a very busy woman, a family, taking care of your mom. That is a blessing within you because that takes a lot of strength and courage to do that. And sometimes people
Yeah.
just do it.
I considered it to be a wonderful gift for me because I didn't really know
Mhm.
my mom. My mom didn't
Mhm.
bring me up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get to spend a lot of time with her before she passed, and I actually got to see her soul leave her body.
As I was reading your bio, of course, your mom was a medium too. Did you know that like early on?
So I didn't. When I was 10 years old, my dad kidnapped the youngest 6 of us and told us
Mhm.
that our mother didn't want us and threw us out, which was not true. So I didn't see my mom until I got married at age 21. So 11 years I didn't see my mother. And I invited her to my wedding and she was just thrilled to death. And I didn't know she was a medium till later in life. And when my abilities fully opened up and I went to study, I ended up studying at all the same places she had studied 50 years earlier. And there were a couple of
Really?
old timers there that were in their 90s like her and still remembered her.
Really?
Yeah.
My
Just crazy. It was
gosh.
just by chance I ended up at these places, and they were the same places she had studied.
How about that?
Yeah. There's
Well,
no
how did
accident.
right, there that's right. Everything happens for a reason and there's no coincidences. How did you discover your own or when did you discover like, "Hey, I have something going on here.
So, I always knew I had something going on because
Mhm.
even from a child, I had a lot of ability. But, we're living a 3D world here and we all have brains in our heads, right?
Mhm.
Well, your brain, other than being a computer and helping you process information, has a very specific job. Your brain's job is to protect you. How does it
Mhm.
do that? It does it by creating fear. So people make all their decisions based on fear. And you block your abilities when you live in fear. I
Mhm.
was afraid of my abilities. When I was a kid, I would see spirits and souls and, I would talk to them, think they were people. I didn't
Mhm.
know everybody wasn't seeing them. And when you realize that, it can be a very frightening thing.
Mhm.
So, as much as possible, I tried to block my abilities, even though things would still come through to me. And then, when I got older and I was going through a second divorce and I was losing my businesses and my life was a mess, I went to have some Reiki done. And she recommended that I meditate. Now, same thing all my students always tell me, I can't meditate. Now, mind you, I'm running 5 businesses, I'm getting a divorce, I'm taking care of my mom, and, I'm going to meditate, really? But
Mhm.
I tried it. And the first time I tried it, it was like they kicked the door in from the other side and said, "She's ready." Yeah. And, my abilities came through 1,000 times stronger than when I was a child, and I could not turn it off. And I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. I get up in the morning and there's people all over the place. I go to work and everybody that walked into the room, I knew everything there was to know about them. It's just insane. And it's
Mhm.
how do you stop it? So it's the old adage that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. And the
Mhm.
universe sent me some wonderful people to teach me how to control my abilities, how to turn it on and off, how energy works, how to recognize who I'm speaking with and what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm trying. I'm learning.
Process.
Yes, it is. It really is. And it's like, well, from what I understand, it's like a muscle when you try to reach your higher self or your higher divine. It's like a muscle that you have to, well, for me, it's like a muscle that I have to not tame, but work
Well,
on.
it's
Keep
a
working
matter
on it.
of it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you are at it.
Mhm.
So I recommend to all my students that they meditate 3 times a day for 20 minutes. No more, no less. Set a timer. If you are meditating for more than that, you're going to become ungrounded.
Mm.
And if you're meditating for less than that, you're not going to connect with your higher self. So your soul is too big for this body. Some of it's in your body,
Mhm.
some of it's over your body that people can see, and they call it an aura. And the majority of your soul is in the lowest level of heaven, that fifth dimension. And it orchestrates the timing of all the events in your life, and it has the knowledge of all the events in your past lives. So when you're meditating, you're connecting to that part of your soul, the part of your soul that is actually in heaven. This is why it raises your vibration exponentially, because when you think of the speed of light at 300 million miles a second, that's at least the vibration that they're at in heaven.
Thank you for that fabulous advice. I'm gonna do that.
And, once you get very, very good at meditating and you recognize, so what happens once you do that, when you really get in touch with your soul on the other side, it's going to be the highest high you've ever experienced because the
Mhm.
vibrational frequency is so high. So you're going to know that you've connected, but that's why
Mhm.
you can't do it for long because you're going to stay ungrounded until you get very good at doing it. And then you'll start connecting faster and faster each time. But then you need to make sure that you have some kind of ritual to stay grounded. And when people don't understand what that means, I'll explain to you what it means.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and explain it for the people that are listening.
So when I first started doing all this, I was in my kitchen one day, I was making meatballs and I checked them in the oven. I'm like, they need like another 5 or 10 minutes. I'll just sit down and meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. Did not set a timer. Always set a timer, especially when you're starting out.
Okay.
By the time I got out of my meditation, an hour had gone by. I got up. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's been what time it is. I got to go do laundry. I ran upstairs, get the laundry. I'm coming down the stairs. I'm like, oh, forgot to shut the stove off after I took the meatballs out. Then it's like, I never took the meatballs out. You become a total airhead if you're not grounded. This is why it's so important to be grounded. You live in D. You have to be grounded or your soul's still floating around out there like, la di da.
Also good to know.
Yes. And you'll find that a lot of mediums have a weight issue
Mhm.
because after they're done doing a session or meditating, what do? They go and eat because eating makes you feel grounded. That whole
Mm.
thing of, so instead of doing that, just get something to drink. Just go to get a glass of water, go outside, walk around a little bit, sit on the floor. Any of that will help you with your grounding.
Oh, man. Beautiful, beautiful information. You're dropping some golden nuggets. Just golden nuggets everywhere. So, you had a near-death experience. Could you tell us about that?
So I had never even heard the term near death experience until a few years ago when I was researching for a TED talk because I
Mhm.
never considered it a near death experience. I died. I
Mhm.
literally died. I went to heaven, the whole 9 yards. And I've since learned that everyone is clumped into near death experience.
Mhm.
So a true near death experience is when your soul jumps out of your body. So, if you're going to have a car accident and it was going to be not fatal,
Mhm.
close to. Your
Mhm.
higher self will make sure that your soul is not in your body upon that impact because your soul would feel that injury. Your
Mhm.
soul takes with it when it goes all of the emotions that you feel here and for every lifetime. So if you were feeling pain and hurt from that, you would take it with you. This is
Mhm.
why your soul jumps out of your body. My 16-year-old brother was in a very bad car accident when he was 16, and he remembers standing on the sidewalk watching everything happen when the paramedics came and then going back into his body. So he didn't
Mhm.
feel the impact. I had a girlfriend that was hit by a deer through the side window, and she remembers her soul being stuck on the headliner of her car. And she was Catholic and thought she did something wrong and couldn't go to heaven. And she remembers seeing the deer's soul go to heaven.
Mhm.
And again, same
Oh,
thing,
that could be confusing. Yeah.
when the
Mhm.
paramedics came, she went back into her body, and it's a
Mhm.
protective mode, okay? So anybody that's had a loved one die from an injury like that, know that they didn't feel it. Their soul jumped out beforehand, okay? So for me, I was having back surgery done, and I had injured my back 5 years earlier, and I just knew that if I had surgery, I was gonna die, and I put it off as long as I could, and 5 years came, and they're like, "You have no choice, you have to have this surgery." And I told my husband and my best friend the night before that I was gonna die. They had to figure out what they're gonna do. I'm like, "I know it's gonna be okay for me," but and of course, they're like, "Yeah, you're just afraid." I said, "I'm telling you, I'm not afraid. I'm telling you, I know I'm gonna die. I just know I." And the night before the surgery, I had an MRI done with contrast dye, and I told them that I think I'm allergic to it. I had it once before. I had a very bad reaction. I couldn't get off the table for hours, and they're like, "That's normal. That happens to everybody." I'm like, "Okay, what do I know, right? I'm 27. I'm not the doctor."
Mhm.
And sure enough, as soon as they injected me, I literally died. And I was immediately taken to the other side, which I now know to be the fifth dimension, the lowest level. And I
Mhm.
could see everything that was happening below me. I could see, him come over and look at me and then go hit the thing on the wall. And I could see them coming down the hallway. I could hear the nurses at the station talking about it. I could see what was going on in the room behind me, but I didn't feel anything because I was not in my body any longer. I was gone. And then my attention got taken by what was happening in front of me. And it was literally like watching my life play out on an IMAX theater and I'm in the front seat. And everyone's that I've connected with that's had this experience, and there's not a lot of people. It's always something different. They're very particular what they show you and why they show it and everything else. And for me, they were just showing me the times in my life that were really happy and the people that loved me and cared about me. And then from behind me, I heard, "It's not really your time. You can stay if you want to, or you can go back. It's your choice." And again, that's a very rare thing to happen. And I'm watching this movie and I'm saying to myself, it's just the feeling of love was just so overwhelming. I'm like, I'm not going back for my family. I'm not going back for my friends. I'm not going back for my husband. I can't think of any reason why I'd wanna go back, and they were not in my movie, which I found very interesting, and I never asked why, but I then remembered that I had 2 young children at the time. I had ended up with 3 boys, but I had
Mhm.
2 at the time, and I knew that they were the biggest reason that I had come back this time, and that they were what brought me the most joy in my life. And as soon as I decided I was coming back for them, I was back in my body in a second. Yeah. instantly.
Wow. You know, it almost the way you describe it, the first vision that I got was the movie Doctor Strange. I don't know if you saw that movie or
Oh my
not.
god, not in 40 years. Or more, maybe 50.
Well, there's a new one out. There's a new
Oh,
one.
seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
And, he came out of his body and like it's astral, I guess, astral projected. He was watching them do surgery on him because he had a huge car crash, and he was like, "No, put this here," but they didn't see him. They just kept going, and he died. And then, of course, he came back and all that. So, yeah, that's the first thing that, when you were talking about reminded me of that.
I completely lost you, I'm sorry.
Oh,
He
that's okay.
died.
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he died in a car crash, and he was directing the people, the surgeons on how to operate on him and things like that because he was in this one, the Marvel movie, and this one, he was a surgeon and he was very arrogant. And so the first thing that happened was in the car crash, his hands were totally, totally almost wiped out where he couldn't perform surgery anymore. But you described that just like that. But he didn't have his life review. Looking and hearing and going down the hall and yeah.
Well, so he had an out-of-body experience. He wasn't dead because they were
Mhm.
still working on him.
Yeah.
That's the difference. An out-of-body experience, you're still alive and your soul's just walking around.
Mm.
I was flatlined, I was dead. I mean,
Flatlined.
I saw them come in and, they paddled me a couple of times and it didn't work. They injected the line, it didn't work. He flipped the table up and he was slapping me saying, "We can't lose you, we can't lose you." Yeah, I'm sure he was a little nervous, and then, I didn't realize he wasn't really, full doctor, he was a resident.
Mm,
When I came back, he said to me, "You're just so lucky that this is the end of my 30-day residency, or you wouldn't have made it." And I was like I couldn't even talk at that point because, when you have
mhm,
something happen to you that's just so out of your norm, it took me so long to even talk about what happened to me. It was incredible, and every
mhm.
time I did, I would just sit there and bawling my eyes out.
But you know what? It comes back 'cause they didn't listen. They didn't listen to what you said.
No.
Yep, no, they didn't listen, but I bet you they
But
listen
from
now.
that, things changed, and they
Yeah.
don't do that. So I was on a, I don't know if that was a weekend. No, I don't think it was a weekend. I think it was during the week, but they did change their procedure that they don't use that contrast dye on weekends at least,
Mhm,
because
right?
more apt to somebody to die if they're doing it on a weekend, because they're, not full-time people in there, they're part-timers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you discover that you were a medium? Yeah.
I didn't know what a medium was.
Right?
I mean, especially when you're a kid and you're talking to people that aren't there, you don't know what you're doing, you're assuming they are there. You're thinking everybody else can see it until you get labeled a freak.
Mhm.
But yeah, when my abilities opened up fully the second time, I had full-fledged 3D people following me around.
You're right.
So clearly I was a medium.
You're right. That's an experience all by
Yeah,
itself,
yeah,
like,
yeah, it is,
how did
yeah.
you handle that? I mean,
Um, like I said, I was
because
freaking out.
yeah.
So I was working in my own business as a medical esthetician, taking the
Mhm,
overflow. And the day that everything, the day after I meditated and everything opened up, the first person that I had, I'm like, "Did your aunt just die?" And she's like, I get this woman lying there, I'm doing a facial. She's like, "Yeah, how did you know that?" I said, "I had no idea how I know that." I'm like, "Did you clean our house out this past weekend?" She goes, "Yeah, we did." I said, "Did you find one of those sock puppets in the attic that looks like a monkey from the 50s?" She goes, "Yeah, we did." I'm like, "Oh my God." And I mean, it just continued and it just got worse. And then I had a widow walk in and her husband in full military uniform was behind her. And it just got weirder and weirder. I freaked out. I was picking up the Awakening magazine. I was calling everybody in there that was a psychic medium, asking them, "What do I do? How do I turn this off? How do I make, I don't know. I can't do what you do. What are you talking about? You put in there that you're a medium. What do you mean you can't do what I do?"
right.
I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I found out real fast what's real and what isn't real.
Mhm, mhm, and then divine intervention brought you your teacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up going to a church and there was a
Mhm,
woman speaking and, I took her business card and I looked her up and I sent or I called to see if there was any appointments available and she didn't have anything for like a week.
mhm.
And she ended up with a cancellation the next day. So I went up on the cancellation. It was like an hour away. But, yeah, that that was crazy. And she said seriously, "Tell me what you can do." I'm like, "I don't know, it just happened. It's not like I could make it happen, it was just happening." And she's like, "Okay, well, think about it and then tell me, what's coming to you," she goes, "about my family." And so I just started rattling off and everybody that she had all the way back to Ireland. She's like, "Oh, wow, that was really interesting." It was crazy. It was crazy. It was, and then she had like an old witch that used to own the property that she lived on,
Mhm.
and she had banned her from the property, but she kept ringing the doorbell. She was making the doorbell ring constantly. As soon as I showed up, it wouldn't stop, right? And then I'm like, I can picture her. I can picture her standing there on the side of the property, banging on pans, right, saying, it's my house, right?
Mhm.
When I leave, she's in my car, and I didn't realize it until I got on the highway, and I
Uh-huh.
looked over, and she fully formed, and I saw her sitting in my, and I screamed, and I pulled off the highway, and I had papers that were on the seat. They all went flying. I'm like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" I'm telling you, it's unnerving.
Bet.
Very unnerving. I had no idea they could get in my car. Back then, I had no idea of any of this stuff, you know?
Did you say, like, "How can I help you?" or "What do you want?" or what?
Scared the hell out of me. You kidding me? Oh my god.
Man, I bet you have stories for
I have a lot of
eons.
stories. I have a lot of stories.
Oh,
But now at least they don't do that to me anymore.
they knew you were, like, fresh. Now you're seasoned, like, "Okay, we
Yeah,
can't mess
yeah,
with
yeah.
her.
They
She'll
can't
she'll
pull that
really get
stuff on
upset
me.
about."
They can't pull that stuff on me anymore.
Right? So out of your books, I see you have Dancing the Universe, right?
Yeah,
You have All's Fair in Love and Karma, which I just think that's a beautiful title. You have the Destiny Card Journey.
that's a journal. Yep,
Oh, that's a journal.
that's a journal.
And
Yeah.
you have Other Side.
A night on the other side. Yeah.
Which one out of those, I'm sure you relate to all of them because you wrote them, but which one would you recommend for someone to start off with?
Depends on what their problem is. If you're
Okay.
having, so remember that you're in a relationship with everyone in your life. You're in a relationship with your parents, your friends, your family, your children, your coworkers, your employees, your customers. You're in a relationship with everyone.
Mhm.
And so if you're not understanding why certain people are in your life or what's going on sometimes, All's Fair in Love and Karma will make you understand that. How come you can't
Okay.
hold on to money? Money is
Right?
energy. That's why it's called currency. Okay. And if you're just curious about developing your own abilities a little bit and want to know some more, then A Night on the Other Side would be the book to start with. I wrote my autobiography, Dancing with the Universe, because I had so many people, the pity party. Oh, you don't know what I've been through, my poor
Mhm.
life, my this. Really? Let's see. Let's go to chapter 14.
Right.
Not much that hasn't happened to me in my life that has happened to anybody else. So I can absolutely relate to it. If I can move on from it and I can develop a wonderful, happy life, so can you.
Mhm.
There's no excuses. Your life is right here for you for a very short time. Make the most of it. Enjoy it. The universe wants you to be happy. The angels want to give you everything in the world you desire. You just have to learn how to ask and how to work with them.
I was gonna say, excuse me. That is it, just to ask, because they are your spiritual team. They're always around you. Is that correct?
So angels are a separate race. They are not human. We're never human. Their
Mhm.
entire existence, however, is to help us. But there are rules on the other side, the same as there are rules here. You have things to do there, just like you have things to do here. And they cannot help you unless you ask. That is their rule. And when you ask, they're more than grateful. Let me tell you something. I get the front row parking spot no matter where I go. Doesn't matter
Right.
when. It's the worst day before Christmas, the biggest rush at the biggest mall. I'm in a car full of girls and it's like, no place to park. I said, stop the car right here. And I'd ask the angels for parking. Just stop. Wait 10 seconds. Boom. Here comes the car out. Boom. We park in. Front row seat right there. Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Now I have to say that does work for me too, because
It
'cause I'm like,
does. Yeah.
"Okay, I'm gonna manifest or I'm gonna."
I could tell you the story of getting my car that would blow your socks off, let me tell you. I'm not
Okay.
sure if it's on my blog or not, but, they brought
Yes,
me.
it is.
So when COVID hit, I was driving a 2015 BMW that was, it was used when I bought it, and here we are 2020. I'm like, I should probably think about getting a new car, and, I start looking for the same thing that I had. I had a diesel BMW 320.
Mhm.
I start looking and I realize that the last year that they made them was 2018. Now we're in 2020.
Right.
So I start looking for a used one, and they were like $40,000 with 30,000 miles. They were ugly colors, black on black, brown on black, white on white.
Mhm.
I said, so I put up to the universe. I said, if you can't find me a new one, and I understand that, at least find me the one that I had leased before. And it was a midnight blue with a saddle interior. It was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. Now I'm only looking on like Craigslist and Marketplace, okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
4 hours went by. I get an email, and I only got one email. One email came through from Rockledge, Maryland, BMW. They had a brand spanking new on the showroom floor, no miles, full warranty, 320D. Okay. And guess what color? Midnight blue saddle interior. There's my gift. It gets
Yep.
better. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is great. Now, mind you, I just finished going through a divorce and bankrupt, lost everything. My life was a mess.
Mhm.
Fine. Filled out the paperwork to get a loan. Got denied because I had bankruptcy. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
that's nice. I said, okay, angels, it's all on you. I said, clearly this is supposed to be my car. You would
Yep.
never have sent this to me if this wasn't supposed to be my car. And now you're going to have to figure out how I'm going to pay for it because I don't have it. So that week, I put enough people in the program that paid in cash that I literally bought it in cash and had it delivered that week.
Now see, that stuff you can't make up.
You can't, and
You
this is
cannot.
how it works when you raise your vibration, the law of
Mhm.
attraction kicks in, you balance your energy so you can maintain it, and you ask the universe and you work with the angels, they bring you everything you've ever asked for and then some. It's amazing. It's like Christmas all the time. People don't believe it. My students have stories just as great as I do. It's incredible.
Tell us about your program, June.
So it's a 7-week program online, and yes, there is work to do. And the way it works is if you do the work, you get the reward. That's how the universe works. So it's about 2 to 3 hours a day worth of work for 7 weeks. You get a module per week,
Mhm.
and it will literally change your life. Absolutely. And because everything in the universe is energy,
Mhm.
everyone that's in your life is on the same energetic thread that you're on. And if you're married or you have a significant other, they are on that same exact thread that you're on.
Mm.
So if you want to better things, you raise your vibration. The people that are in your life that aren't going to be with you drop off. New people come in. But if you're supposed to be with that spouse or that significant other that you're having problems or difficulty with, they will also raise their vibration to match yours. And you'll end up staying together and having an amazing relationship. If you're
Now,
not
isn't
meant
that
together,
beautiful?
you'll understand why. You'll know why. You'll appreciate the time that you've had together and you'll be able to move on without question to
Now
something bigger.
that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Just to even know that you can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The results are incredible. And I only work with one person. That's what's really interesting. I don't
Mhm.
do couples. I work with one person because it only takes one person to make or break anything in life. For every
Mhm.
action is an equal or greater reaction. So when you do things differently, the other person has no choice but to do things differently.
Yeah.
So the result of the program is that when they get back together, the wife after 2 or 3 weeks is like, "What are you doing? Why are you so different?" And
Mhm.
then they can explain to them what they're doing and then teach them what I have taught them. I have people now that teach their children, and they'll send me videos of them teaching their children how to meditate and how the universe works and how energy works. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. I mean, just from us talking, I have wrote down 20 minutes, 3 times a day timer. You know, keep your vibration as high as possible. Make sure you always set a timer and just let it flow basically. And then you can't rush it, but you said that you will know when you
When
hear
you're ready. Yeah.
when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
You'll know when
that's
you. Yeah.
that's a fabulous thing.
Yeah,
I
and
just
as
think
you're
that's a fabulous
meditating, you'll
thing.
start hearing, every one of my students has had mediumship ability, every one of them.
Mhm.
And, some are better than others, some apply
Yeah.
themselves more than others, but you'll start hearing, you'll start maybe seeing your grandmother's face, different things like that.
So I'm stuttering. Hearing, I've had that experience a couple times. It scared me because You
You didn't
know?
expect it, yeah.
Right, no, because I was asking, I have, like, a meditation closet. So, I was asking who my guides were or something question. I know I have to do at least 20 minutes, but I get up so early because I get up at 3:45. I have to leave my house by 5 to get to work by 5:30. Well, actually, I leave out at 4:45 to get there by 5:30. So, I was closing the closet, and in this ear right here, something said Enoch. I hadn't heard of Enoch, and I come from a Catholic school. I haven't heard of
Look it
Enoch.
up.
I did. When I got to work, I Googled it. Boy, that's the rabbit hole just kept going. And so now I know who he is. And I wonder, is there any why Enoch first and foremost?
Ask. When you do your meditation, ask. There's a reason.
Okay. All
There's a
right.
reason for everything. The first angel that I ever channeled to come through was a seraphim. They sit to the right hand of God. I mean, it
Mhm.
filled the entire room. I was on my knees in tears. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they'll come through for you. Absolutely. And that's the
Yeah.
best time to meditate. My life was so crazy. The only time I could meditate and go to the gym was to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So
Mhm.
I'm still on that schedule. I get up 4:30, quarter 5.
Yep. I go to bed early too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
But
do
I
my
can't go
meditation.
too early or I'll wake up in the middle of the night. So,
Yeah, yeah, but you wanna do your first meditation early in the morning too, and you wanna start that's your day. It sets the tone for your day.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about the oracle cards or the tarot cards? Do you think that plays a hand in helping some people with their spiritual gifts, or where do you think that comes from?
So, I don't like tarot cards only because they were made to be dark. They were
Mhm.
made to make people afraid. I don't like them, I don't use them. I use angel cards, but
Mhm.
realistically, you could read pocket change. It makes no difference. They're
Mhm.
just everybody when they're first starting out with their gifts starts with cards, and that's
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
They're gonna be giving you little hints on the cards that you pull, and giving you the message that coincides with it. If I've had
Mhm.
a really long day and I've done a lot of readings and I'm tired, I'll take out some cards and I'll start with a card reading before I tap into other things. It just kinda
Mhm.
whets my appetite again or, makes it a little easier to tap in. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's great, read your own cards every day. It's wonderful. It's amazing the things that you'll see and you'll find.
Mhm. One more story about that voice. I had fell back to sleep, right? And something in this it was a different ear because I was laying down and go, "Get up." I was like, "What, girl?" I was like, "I saged my house." I was the next day, I was like, "This is a little bit too much." But I
And
haven't
that's
heard
the
it
thing.
again.
Well, and that's the thing, because I call them lower vibrational entities. They're just souls that have not gone into the light and haven't gone to heaven. So
Mhm.
whenever you're saging your house, you always wanna go through and let them know, if you haven't come from the light, you're not welcome.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
because they'll follow you in, they'll walk in off the street. I always tell people to make sure they've got religious symbols in every room and that
Mhm.
you're wearing one because they won't wanna be bothered with you. They'll go to the next person.
Mhm.
But, that way you're getting those out of your house. You don't want ghosts in
Mhm.
your house. They're just gonna drain your energy. They're
Yeah.
lower vibrational entities. You don't People think it's fun. "Oh, I got a ghost in my house. Oh, I live with a ghost." No, you don't
No.
want that. If they're from the light, they are at a higher vibration than you. You'll know the
Mhm.
difference when you learn how energy feels.
Mhm.
Okay? Everybody's walked into a funeral and they've felt that low vibration, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's walked into a birthday party and felt that high vibration. Well, when those souls are around you, you feel that energy. If it's demonic, you'll get a pit in your stomach like you're going to throw
Uh-huh.
up. So it's all energy, and you don't want the low energy around you. You only want them to come from the light. And when they come from the light, they're only going to come visit. They're not going to stay long. They'll come
Mhm.
for whatever reason. They'll pop in. They'll check on you. They'll say hi.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I've
whenever
had
you
that
think
too.
about them, yeah, whenever you think about them, they show up immediately.
Yep. Like
They're
I
always there.
My mom had passed when she was 49, and I was laying in bed, meditating again, and I felt her energy, and I was like, "Mom?" And I have never but you could tell, you could just feel you
Yeah.
knew it was her, and from that day forward, no one could tell me that you are still alive after death. You are still
Yeah,
there. Their
you live
energy's
forever. You
always
live
there.
forever, you only die
Yep.
once.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
how it works. It's not the
Yep.
other way around.
Yeah, but I keep, you know, I don't know what that and, we had I don't know whether the people that lived here before us, like they were sick or whatever, but that was it. I never heard that after that. I saged, I never heard anything else.
Good.
So that's good. I'm gonna keep it that way.
But you gotta have company that comes in, if you've had a party, you've had people at your house, something like that, you always wanna make sure you sage after because you don't know what they're bringing in.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I had a friend come to my house one day and he walked in, I'm like, "Holy crap." I'm like, "What is going on with you?" He's like, What are you talking about? What's the matter?" I
Mhm.
said, "You've got an attachment." I said, it looks to me like they're riding piggyback on top of him." He
Mm.
goes, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah," 'cause he liked to go around and do the ghost hunting stuff, right? So he
Mhm.
takes his phone out and he shows me, "Does it look like this?" And he shows me a picture of a dark entity coming through a door, closed door. He goes, "Yeah, I saw this on the last hunt." I was like, "Yeah, that's what's on your back."
Yeah.
They end up taking him home, and if I hadn't
Yeah.
gotten rid of it, I don't want it in my home.
Right.
But
Right.
they wanna
And
take over your body, that's why. They
mhm.
want your body, they
Mhm.
don't have one.
There was a TV show, I can't remember, Zach and somebody else. They were out of, Vegas, and I think they went behind the scenes and they said that they had, like, dark entities come home with them and, change their personalities. I'm like, "See, that's
Very
stuff you
easily.
just don't mess with."
No, and a lot of people that are doing paranormal investigations and stuff are not protecting themselves, they don't have a clue. They're interested, it's intriguing, it's a little scary, but they don't realize how
Mhm.
dangerous it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very dangerous. And yes, the ghost can kill you, absolutely, because it's energy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you've got a demonic spirit that doesn't like you, they'll push you off a 3rd floor balcony, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't mess with that unknown.
You do not.
No.
You
That's a
stay in the
true
light,
statement. Yeah.
stay in the light, work with the angels, work with Saint Michael, he'll always protect you if you ask,
Mhm.
but you have to ask.
Yep. You have to ask.
And that's just to be clear on that too, before you meditate, always ask for protection from Saint Michael. Because when you open yourself up to the universe like that, you're opening yourself up to good and evil. And if you have a good heart, you're a target for evil. Always protect yourself before you meditate. Always.
And we're gonna leave it right there. Yes. Is there any words of wisdom, some that you already gave us, that you would tell everybody what they should do or think about
Yeah,
or
stop watching the news, shut off social media. People
Mhm.
ask me what I watch on TV. I watch old reruns of Seinfeld or Everybody
Yeah.
Loves Raymond because it's just light comedy.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep your
Yeah.
all that other stuff lowers your vibration.
Yeah.
Raise
And
your
I
vibration.
do that. I don't watch the news.
No,
I
raise your
figure, like,
You need to
even
be
though
informed, you need to know what's going on, but you
right,
don't no, and
don't keep, like,
don't
dwelling
gossip,
on
none of
it.
that stuff, it's all low vibration stuff.
Yeah. Well, June, I'd like to thank you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you rest because June really didn't feel well today, but you couldn't tell it, could you? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I thank you so much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close. So hope you see you again. I hope you enjoyed, which I know I did. She dropped a whole lot of good nuggets for us. So thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.